Hi, my name is Courtney Pittman. I'm an occupational therapist and I work here in the Developmental Pediatrics Center at Siskin Children's Institute. And today we're going to talk about occupational therapy, how that can help children with special needs, and help parents to know if occupational therapy is a right fit for their child. Occupational therapy is the discipline of helping children with their occupations of life. Every child has occupations, whether it be feeding themselves, whether it be playing with siblings, going down the slide at the playground, drawing, coloring, cutting, dressing themselves, even going to the grocery store with family is an occupation of life. And occupational therapists are trained to evaluate and treat children and based on what their needs are, and helping them to become as independent and happy as we can for their age in all areas of life. So that would be community, home, and school. Occupational therapy sees kids on a wide variety of diagnoses. We see kids with autism, we see kids with Down syndrome, we see kids with cerebral palsy, but we don't base services necessarily on a diagnosis. We look at the child individually and how they function at home, at school, and in the community. And we look at their occupations of a life and how they're doing. Are they able to be functional, or could they use more help? So children don't necessarily have to have a specific diagnosis, but if they have a need in one of those areas, and occupational therapy has, if we've evaluated for occupational therapy, then we can create goals that can help them be more functional and independent. An occupational therapy evaluation would be parents and the child coming in. They would meet with the occupational therapist. It could take anywhere from an hour to 2 hours. The occupational therapist would meet with the parent and talk to them and get to know them, get to know the child, and talk with that parent about what their concerns are based on what occupational therapy treats. So we first talk to the parent and explain what occupational therapy is. We give them some examples and then help them talk about their child and what their concerns could be. And then we do standardized testing. So we would interact with the child and play with them, maybe do some testing but make it fun, and look at different areas that are under the occupational therapy umbrella. So we might look at sensory processing issues. We would look at fine motor skills, visual perceptual skills. We look at how they use their hands and how they play on equipment, how they interact with us, how they interact with their family. We talk about their sensory processing issues and if they have some issues with those. And then we create goals based on what the family's needs are, what the child's needs are, and what occupational therapy, how occupational therapy can help that child. A typical therapy session will involve the OT interacting with the child, typically for an hour. It's very play-based. We come down to the child's level. We're usually in the floor. And depending on what the child is working on, if we're working on our fine motor skills, then we'll find toys and games and things that are really motivating for that child. And as a therapist, it looks like, from an outside perspective, it looks like we're just playing. But really, from the OT's perspective, we like to multitask. And when we're playing with kids, we're constantly thinking about, are we working on our trunk? Are we working on bilateral integration? That means using both hands at the same time. We're evaluating how the child is doing. Is there a better position for us to put them in? But they don't really know that. They just know that they're getting to play with toys. And mom might be playing with us, or they might be playing one-on-one or in my lap. We might be doing hand over hand, but we also do lots of sensory processing tasks, meaning that we get a lot of sensory input in. So we use swings, we climb, we jump, we crash, we usually do at least more than one thing at a time. So maybe while we're swinging, we might be doing something that involves fine motor skills or gross motor skills while we're getting that input. So I always like to say occupational therapists like to multitask. I feel like our occupational therapy team here at Siskin, and really our entire therapy team here at Siskin, is different from other facilities in that we do function in a multidisciplinary approach. So that means that we work alongside physical therapists and speech therapists. And if the child receives more than one therapy service, so say they get OT and speech at the same time, then we have the the ability to collaborate with the speech therapist, and the speech therapist can talk to us. And we can create a treatment plan through collaboration to better meet those child's needs. And we can use the advice and the professional treatment advice from other therapists in our treatment session. I love that we also have not just a multidisciplinary approach with the other therapists, but also with our medical team. So being able to speak directly to our medical team when that child receives services from one of our medical staff, I just don't know if we can get that anywhere else close to here. So being able to go and talk to our medical team, get advice, talk to them, give them our feedback of how the child is doing, I think is great for families who want to come to Siskin. We really involve the families. A lot of times we have the families come back with us for therapy. We want to involve the family as much as possible. We want to educate the family on what we're doing and why we're doing it, and how they can replicate that same, maybe that task or that play skill at home so that the child can make gains faster. A lot of our families love learning more about how to help their child. And even sometimes if the child doesn't necessarily work so well with a family member in the room, we have observation rooms so that they can still watch what they're doing, and the occupational therapist can still be independent one-on-one with that child. So we really try to involve the family as much as possible. The best way for families to get connected to services here at Siskin is to contact their pediatrician and talk to them about requesting a referral here to Siskin for occupational therapy. If they're already getting medical services here through our developmental pediatrician or our nurse practitioner or physician's assistant, then contacting them on their next visit and talking with them about a referral for therapy, that's also a great way. For more information on getting occupational therapy services here at Siskin Children's Institute, visit siskin.org/OT.